start recording, and then go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah. So two questions actually. The first one, I think I know the answer, but it was about if we go for an engagement, like right here, say we come out of spawn
Mm-hmm.
and very early before anybody else has engaged, the other team gets one pick, and so already down to five. Should we be waiting to like until they come all the way back from spawn?
Depends upon the situation. So if they die at the very beginning, and like you're engaging on attack, then yes, you would wait because there's no point in engaging while you're at a disadvantage. But it's not always a lost fight per se. So let's say you're on defense, you wouldn't
Hmm.
just back out and give them the fight just because you're down a person, right? But if you're on attack, you might wait a minute.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or if you're already in like 3/4 of the way, you're not going to just back up, or you're not going to just hand them the fight. You're going to keep playing because it's not lost yet, right? And then yeah, same as last time. It'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about. Go for fire strike spam. Just get that out there. All right. So sim turrets, right? Making sure that we're paying attention to that. So to handle that, we just gotta make sure we're walking out, letting our team destroy. We can swing on it if we need to. Besides that,
Okay.
just being careful that we're not getting too aggressive and pushing past, like and getting shielded off or getting melted by their whole team. An option here might just be going below them and go straight to point
Yeah,
them,
that's what I was
especially.
gonna do.
Yeah. Especially if you know that they have all of the sim turrets up there. Don't spam jump, that's going to be even louder and not let them all know that you're there.
Sim's above. Sim's above you guys.
Very nice. Just run at the sim. No reason to start backing off there. Alright, pretty good fight.
Moving up.
Another option we could have had in that last fight was once we saw that like Reinhardt was sitting down main, we maybe had the
Mhm.
option to try to take high ground since like they were down their main tank.
Okay.
Upright.
Somebody can fail us.
Alright. Problem in that fight was the fight was happening and we were just kind of sitting around for most of it, right? Right. Like there as well, Symmetra very far on our side. Oh, very easy option for a kill and we just didn't really notice her.
Okay.
Nice pin. Alright, so in that fight, a lot of time spent sitting around where we weren't really doing anything. Do you think you're going to make it out here?
No,
Alright,
probably not. No.
so then we end up just tagging ourselves, right?
Yeah.
That's something we talked about last time, right? Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So just making sure when we've lost the fight, we're looking to get out or let them kill us. Right. Make sure we're doing some stuff in the fight. Pay attention to your surroundings. Metro is very overextended at one point. If you're going for, if you know that they don't have anything to block your shatter, don't settle
Mm-hmm.
for just 2 people. Right. Like
Okay.
look for more people than just 2. Right. Because getting 4 people is going to be, over twice as much value. It's probably gonna be like 3 times as much value.
Yeah. Okay.
Make sure you request healing. Yeah, there you go. And watch your health still, because even though we had immortality, we were still like 100 HP. So in that situation, we can't really swing. Last time, did we go over in depth aggression scaling? Is that something we went over?
Yeah.
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 So making sure paying attention to all that stuff, right? Since we've already gone over it, like probably after this first game, like in the next round or in the next game or something like that, I'm gonna start walking you through a little bit more of aggression scaling. But for the moment, just make sure you're thinking about that, right? Because a couple times I think we're off with how we're aggressing. Okay. Possibly look to charge the monkey, yeah. That just, stuns him, possibly opens up for a kill. No, completely fine. He wasted an ultimate.
Yeah.
You won.
Okay. Don't jump before you swing, or before you shatter. That's going to extend the duration before the shatter lands. Additionally, I think we're trying to just go for around the corner, but like I think that just Reinhardt just saw us coming, right? So typically, like around the corner, I probably like trying to go for an around the corner shatter is very situational, right? It depends on like really are they paying attention or do they know you're there? And in that situation, they didn't know we were there, right? And they were shielding.
You have to get
Okay.
this one.
We're down 2, so.
There's a sword on high. He might be looking for a visor.
Did we talk about shield hopping last time?
Yeah.
Yep, so, remembering just to shield hop when you're engaging and getting aggressive, instead of just hard
Okay.
shielding while you're walking forwards.
Still a soldier
We
behind.
get a re. We need more depth.
Sand ammo, he's looking for it.
Soldier's low.
Yep, so if you remember from aggression scaling,
We get a re.
our neutral's 50%, right? 50% doesn't mean we're just sitting around. 50% means that maybe we're swinging a little bit, but we're making sure we're playing passive. We're not just sprinting into them. So we might swing, shield, or play on cover, stuff like that. Our neutral seems to be like 25%, right?
Okay.
Where we just kind of sit there. We're not really doing anything,
Okay.
right? Make sure that our neutrals us actually doing things, right? And looking to do things. Oh, cover usage. There, I think we're trying to go for people who are out in the open. But besides that, like watching our health bar, shielding. Right, we're dying with a 1600 shield, which just means that to save our lives, all we have to do is shield. Besides that, right, just paying attention to the fact that like 6 people are staring at us, right? And when 6 people are staring at us, we're gonna be taking a lot of damage. So that affects our aggression. So just to give you a refresher on the aggression scaling, to walk you through the different things. So you have a 0% really passive, 100% super aggressive, 50% is your standard, your neutral, right? You adjust upwards with advantages, downwards with disadvantages. You adjust upwards when you have opportunities, and you adjust downwards when you have a lack of abilities, right? So making sure we're looking to adjust up and down on the list as we go along. A lot of times, like I said, we have a neutral of like, or sorry, a Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant to say. We come into a fight with a neutral, a standard of like 25%, where that's not really where we want to be at. Maybe I'd say like 30%-ish. Right, not where we want to be at, and then sometimes we end up going up to 90% when we shouldn't be at 90%, and sometimes we drop down to 10% when we shouldn't be at 10%. So we're really just trying to make sure we're understanding when should we be doing what. After, like I said, I don't want to usually take we have plenty of time. We have 2 hours, right? But usually take the first game or two to like figure out what are the things that's wrong, and then after that point, I'll start chipping in and giving you reminders and things like that.
I'll let you know when
Right.
I don't have raid. Right. What are you gonna accomplish by high ground? Like from high ground when they're down on point?
Line of sight and
What's line of sight gonna do for you as Reinhardt?
protects my team. They have line of sight and they
Okay.
have protection
So you
cover
protect your
because they
team,
can back
right.
up. Yeah.
Reinhardt typically isn't just a shield bot, right? Reinhardt doesn't just shield bot for people, right? Your objective as Reinhardt is not to sit there with shield. So
Right.
and then you also have a Sigma who is able to do that. So don't just sit there, right? If you're just gonna sit there, then Sigma or Orisa are much better characters who can sit there and actually do things, right? So we should have dropped much earlier, much sooner when they first touch point, not like after 6 seconds after they touch point.
Okay.
Okay. Watch where your team is, right? Just look at when you die there, you can just see everybody was a mile away from us, right? So therefore we were walking in and we didn't have teammates with us. We can't walk in when we don't have teammates with us, right? That's awareness of our surroundings. Before you push in and get aggressive, look around you. Besides that, use your shield tech to look around you as well if you need to, right? Just believe you're familiar with that, yeah.
Yeah.
Walked into that one.
Yeah.
Right. Don't walk back into fights where you know the fight's lost. There we kind of walked back in when we saw that it was lost already.
Because nothing's getting down right.
Push over on the corner.
Charge to get back so you can get back sooner.
I don't have ammo. Dude, this is a DPS thing.
Yeah.
We win this? We win this? Don't team it. I have ammo coming back.
Okay. Back slightly up before shattering, right? Your shatter is a cone, right? So it's small to start, wide the further out it goes. We shattered when we were like right next to everybody, and then therefore we only hit like one main, right? When everybody was there, we probably, if we had like just jumped backwards, we probably could have gotten a lot more people in that, right?
Reaper up top.
Looking to watching for shatter. And don't look to just block for you, block for your teammates too into a bomb. Right there, we had like 3 people in front of us, and we just kind of shielded ourselves, right? They got saved by immortality, but guess what happens if they are immortality and then they get bombed?
He got shot. Oh, he just used. Back up, Ryan. Back up.
Okay, very massive. Might want to just again watch your health bar, pay attention to how many people are shooting at me, how much damage am I taking, right? That way we can look to shield once we do start taking much damage. So maybe they're like we shatter, we swing once or twice, and then we shield, right?
Dude, I can't.
Okay, do not leave the game immediately. I'd like to direct your attention. Take a look at how much time is in the time bank. So look top, press tab real quick. Right. Look top left. 12 minutes. Look at your death. Or sorry, 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Death's 11 minutes. Right. So that is a little under a death a minute. Right.
Mhm.
Did we talk about survivability last time?
Yeah, negative value.
Yep. So negative value, no value. That's a lot of time that you're spending dead, right? So like that 11 deaths times 20 seconds divided by 60 is going to be like 3 minutes and 40 seconds, right? Which is a whole heck of a lot of time where you're not really doing anything at all and you're giving negative value to your team and making them less like and losing those fights for your team, right? So make sure we're looking to stay alive, to make sure we're doing things, right? And that is one of the bigger reasons why we end up losing that game is because of the fact that we die. You can leave the game. So pay attention to the reasons why you're dying, right? As a reminder, again, 4 reasons why you die are 1, a poor positioning, lack of awareness, over aggression, and a misuse of abilities, right? I probably
Okay.
say that we did. I'd say we died a decent bit to most of them. I'd say maybe over, yeah. So we died a couple times because we ran in, died a couple times because we didn't shield, died a couple times because we were out of. I'd say maybe positioning would be the one where's maybe slightly maybe the least out of them. And then awareness as well. We died a couple times to that. Besides that, I think you can look to just go ahead and queue up again for a game. Let's see. Did we last time talk about all of the other things that go into whether or not you're winning or losing a fight? So we talked about whether or not how to tell whether or not you won or lost a fight, right? And that's based off of kills. But did we discuss what other things go into that at all? No.
Oh, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
So then let's discuss that real quick. So there's a lot of other things that go into it. This is why 2 is the middleman, right? If you remember the numbers, it is 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3 is an advantage versus a win, right? Or a disadvantage versus a loss, right? The reason why 2 is in the middle is because there's a whole heck of a lot of other things that go into this, right? Which team has better positioning, which team has more health, which team has more ultimates, which team has more abilities, which team has closer spawns, right? A lot of other things that affect this, right? So these things as well affect your aggression scaling and affect whether or not you're winning or losing, right? If you are, for example, down 2 people and you have no additional advantage, that's a lost fight. But if you're down 2 people and their entire team is 1 HP, or let's say you have really close spawns like on a 2CP map, well, now that's very winnable, right? So pay attention to those things. Those as well affect your aggression scaling. I'm going to start to talk slightly more, give you some reminders. Right now we're at 50% aggression. We're down 1 player, so now we're maybe at like a 40. We're down health, so we're at like a 30. Watching the health bar at the moment. Right now we're still at like a 30. Maybe looking to back up to like a point to take better positioning from them. So they're in that situation, looking to take point would be a really good idea because we can, we kind of just like sat on the open the whole time and we would like drop shield for a second and then lose all of our health again and then drop shield and lose all of our health, right? Whereas if we go and hold point, well, now we have a ton of really good cover usage and good positioning and they have to come to us. So that really can maybe turn the tide in the fight of having that superior positioning over them. Whereas we just instead kind of sat in the open, right? Again, pay attention to where your team's at. Do we have our whole team with us before we push?
Yep. We just traded, so.
Yeah, right now we're down 1 person, but that's not necessarily lost. Watch the health, right? Make sure we're getting healed before we're re-engaging.
She's about to miss the school bus. Holy fuck, Moira. What the shit? Are you kidding me? I was gonna get Grandmaster this game.
It's unfortunate.
There were a lot of games like that when I was playing before.
Yep, which happens.
What the f-
Oh, he came back. Look at that.
Yeah, Genji's being real toxic at the moment. Not sure, like, you know, how much you care about toxic people, but typically it's my recommendation just as soon as anybody starts acting like that, you just mute immediately. Okay, right now, we wait out that, then we're now back up to 50%. Yeah, I have to go for the point touch here in a moment. Oh, possibly could have killed Mercy there, go for like the fire strike. Uh-oh. Alright, so we're down a player for a little bit of that, so not super big thing, but we also could have done a little better there.
Yeah.
Alright, press tab real quick. Okay, so we're on Moira and Zenyatta. Alright. I think we were maybe down on Moira for a little bit there. I can't remember. I can't
Yeah, that
recall.
was who left.
Yeah. But I was thinking, like, even before that, I think maybe she was AFK for a little bit.
Okay.
Possibly.
Should I be charging out of spawn?
Yep, because you want to get
Okay.
forwards to take as much positioning as possible. You don't want to just charge out of spawn and then like immediately sprint into them, but you charge out of spawn so you can take superior positioning from the enemy team.
Okay.
And like set up your team.
Group up. Okay, I'll group up. Oh my god. Get him. Get him. Get him. Get him. Happy.
Okay.
What the
Do
hell?
we have people around us at the moment?
Teammates, no.
No.
Now we do, but
So is this what's this fight looking like? Is it, you know, winnable, lost?
now it's probably a loss.
Right. So now we're letting them kill us. Might even want to just like jump off the void.
You suck.
Right. Keep swinging, even though you're letting them kill you. You still want to get ult charge. Besides
Okay.
that, when you're walking out of spawn, what side is the enemy team more likely to come out of? Left or right? The mid-
Left.
Left. Okay. Which side has
Yeah.
more cover that you can use to get to the said enemy team?
I guess left.
Yes, left. Right.
Okay.
So probably want to be coming out on the left side, not right side. That way we can get to them sooner, be able to brawl faster. We took the long way around instead of the short way around.
Okay.
We're gonna win now. We're on fucking fist. Can I feel it? Can I feel it? I killed 2 people. Hold your shield. Hold your shield. How?
Okay, when Genji's blading, turn around and like charge it or something of that sort, right? You're going to be able to like boop them away from your team or even potentially kill them, right? We could even just go over and swing at them, right? We'll be able to tank a lot of swings, right? But don't just let them run around your backline, right?
Okay.
Last time, did we discuss team compositions and how they dictate your playstyle at all?
No.
No? Okay, so we'll go in depth on that after this game is over, right? We'll, you know, no harm on you for if I didn't mention it.
I need healing. I need healing. There's a fucking tracer. Dude. What the hell?
Oh, and they swing off the edge.
I'm not getting healed.
Massive.
Holy fuck. You guys carried.
Absolutely massive. Alright, last time as well, did we go over target priority at all?
Silver.
Can you say that again? I think you cut out.
No, we didn't.
No? Okay, so we'll go over that as well.
Yeah, see.
Alright, yes, some stuff to talk about.
Grandiose team. I don't know.
Okay. Last time we talked about choke point usage.
This is a Q.
I don't think so.
Don't think so? No Man's Land, ring a bell?
Oh yeah, No Man's Land.
Yeah, No Man's Land and choke points, right? Same thing, same concept, right? If you remember, we don't play in front or in the middle of them, we play at the end of them. There, we had a choke, right? And instead of, we were playing in the middle of the choke, basically, right? Whereas
Okay.
point would be the back end of the choke. So when you're holding up close there, you want to hold on point, not sitting up in the middle, right? Because
Okay.
then you're putting yourself in the funnel and not having them walk through it.
Okay. So I want to play back here.
Nope, it would be up on the corner, right? You were just playing in even further forwards, basically. So like right where you're standing right now would be your positioning. But you also have to pay attention to where your team is. So this is to correcting. I might have given you the wrong impression there. If your entire team is standing on the back side of point, then you probably don't want to be standing on the front side of point, right? Because then you're just 1v6ing, essentially.
Okay, that makes sense. Ooh, that was close.
Mm-hmm. Right, which is a very slow projectile. Shield it, right?
Yeah.
Watch the shield for the flashbang again there. All right. So before you don't hop into a game quite yet. We're gonna talk about some stuff.
Okay. You want me to leave this game though?
Yep. All right. So we were going to go over target priority, and then the other thing was brain is blanking. What was the other thing I mentioned? Wait a moment. Do you recall what I asked you? Oh, we were talking about team compositions. That was what it was.
Yeah.
What it was. All right.
Yeah.
So let's start with just target priority. So target priority, you want to look at and try to attempt to kill the things that are the easiest to kill and have the highest value to kill, right? Highest value is very situational. It's not usually going to be very exact. It's going to vary a lot. Honestly, it's something that gets a little bit more complicated, so that can be is discussed in certain situations. So think, for example, highest value sometimes could be like if you have a Pharah, a lot of times Pharah becomes a very high value character because she is using the power of two characters. If you have a Mercy Pocket on her, it's her using two characters, and as you've probably seen in a lot of your games, Pharah has a very high carrying potential. She's able to do a whole lot once she gets going, right? So that might be an example of a high value character. You could also say a high value character is somebody, let's say, like they have their ultimate, right? So you're coming into a fight and they have a grab, right? And you're thinking, oh, I don't want them to get good value out of their grab, so I'm going to focus Zarya. But like I said, very situational, not easy to understand. The other one is very easy to understand. Go, for easy things to kill. Now, when you go for easy things to kill, very basic standard of this is don't look and shoot at tanks. Tanks are not easy to kill. They are the hardest things in the game to kill. They have 2 to 3 times the health of other characters. They have armor. They have shields. They have tanking abilities. And on top of all this, even though they're in very important role, their job is to create space. Whereas DPS output damage and supports output healing, tanks do not really have a statistical output unless you're counting like shielding, which not all of them do have, right? So therefore, tanks usually come at the very end of the target priority list, right? And that's not to say that we never shoot at hard things to kill, right? We shoot at them when they are low, when they're out of position, when we have an opportunity to kill them, or let's say they're the only thing we can shoot at, right? So think, for example, compare you as a Reinhardt versus a monkey, right? If you're going up against an enemy, like let's say they're running like a Brawl comp, right? They have like a Reinhardt, right? Are you as Reinhardt going to be able to get to their backline very easily?
Uh,
No, why
No.
not?
Because I'd have to go through the Reinhardt and the monkey.
All right. So then, therefore, they're the tanks are the only thing you can really get to, right? So therefore,
Right.
they become fine to swing on in that situation. Now,
Okay.
let's say you are on monkey. Well, now can you get to the backline instantly?
Yes.
Right. So now it's different, right? Because you can bypass them very easily. Now, let's say you have equal opportunities. So you have the option to, you have the option, right? You have, well, let's say there is a Reinhardt over here, and over here you have, I don't know, like a soldier. Or let's not say soldier, let's say something else. Like you have McCree over here, right? So target priority would say, okay, I have the option, I have the equal opportunity to go for both of them. They're both the same distance away. I can go for both of them just as easily. I'm going to go and prioritize the easier thing to kill, which would be McCree, right? So there are a lot of situations. I said a couple of lot, right? There are a lot of situations where we would have this same deliberation, where we would see a McCree and a Mercy over here and a Roadhog over here, and we would choose to go after Roadhog, who is going to be much, much more difficult to actually kill, right? So equal opportunity, you also want to actively seek out other characters, right? Such as, let's say, you have Reinhardt right here, but let's say like over there, right? There's somebody else up on the high ground, right? Well, maybe in some situations, it's probably on Reinhardt, this is much less applicable, but than other characters. But you can actively go and seek out the other characters, right? Go for them. Or let's say, I guess a better example would be like, let's say you land a big old shatter, and Reinhardt's sitting in the front. And you don't necessarily have the equal opportunity, right? But Mercy's sitting, you have Reinhardt in the front and then Mercy in the back. Right? You don't have exact equal opportunity, but you'd run past the Reinhardt and swing on the Mercy because the Mercy is the higher priority. You'd actively seek out the Mercy, right?
Yeah.
And there's target priority that extends just past don't shoot at tanks, right? Even among DPS and supports, you have easier and harder supports and supports and DPS, and among tanks you have easy and harder ones, right? Like who is going to be easier to kill, Wrecking Ball or Zarya?
Zarya.
Zarya, right? You're correct. Who's going to be easier to kill, a Tracer or let's say, Tracer or Ashe?
Ashe, definitely.
Yeah. Who's going to be easier to kill, a Lucio or a Moira?
Moira.
Yeah.
She doesn't have fade.
Exactly, right? So you got them all right. So whenever you get into a game, come up with a list in your head. Go left to right, or who's the easiest to kill, who's the hardest to kill. You can tie a couple of them. You can make them a little bit situational sometimes. But you just come up with a list and go, who's generally the easiest, who's generally the hardest, and then that becomes who you should look at, right? So that's target priority. Right now, moving on to team compositions. So I'm going to send you a list here. Are you familiar? And so just look at Discord real quick. Right? Are you familiar with what dive, brawl, and spam compositions are?
Somewhat. Yeah.
Somewhat. Do you know what characters would make them up? Like, so if could you tell me what characters go into each comp?
So dive would be the ones that are like really mobile, like Doomfist, Monkey,
Yep.
Lucio, Tracer, things like that. Brawl would be people who are very close range. So Reinhardt is a great example. I would think May, Reaper,
Yep.
people like that.
Exactly.
And then spam would be people who they are doing, well, they're spamming. So Junkrat comes to mind. Potentially soldier on a shield. Let's see, maybe Hog, because I mean he can spam a little bit.
Yeah, so spam would be characteristic more so than just the ability to do damage, is like, because everybody can do damage. Spam is more characterized by their distancing, so their ability to shoot from far away, right? So spam is the distance of being able to shoot far. So that would entail snipers. It would be, like Hanzo, Soldier, Junkrat, like you said. This could be Pharah Echo. Just really, it is a lot of different characters. Orisa, Sigma, Roadhog, Baptiste, Mercy, Zenyatta, right? A lot of characters that go into that one, right?
Yeah.
And then hybrid is anytime you don't really have anything in particular, right? You're not really running any composition. So if you have 4 or more characters in a comp, you're running that composition. So if we have 4 to 6 spam characters, we're on a spam comp. But if we
Okay.
have 3 spam characters and 2 dive characters and a brawl character, well, now we're running maybe like a spammy hybrid, right? We're not really running anything in particular, right? Which means we're going to have a less organized objective of, we're not going to have an organized pacing or an organized distancing. We're all going to be around, like, split up throughout the map. It's going to be more deathmatchy, right? So that's hybrid. Now, how do these different compositions play? Because it's very important to know how they play. Dive is very standard. It's just easy to understand. They start off far away. They dive in close. Then their pacing is written as fast here, but their pacing really is it's just standard, right? It's just the aggression scaling. You start off slow, then you get faster and faster and faster when you get more opportunities, right? When you get opportunities, when you get kills, when you get ultimates, yada yada, right? So it's just very standardized with dive. Brawl and spam are where it's also very easy to understand, but it's also super important to understand. So let's start with spam. Spam is made up of far distance characters, so your composition prefers a far range, right?
Right.
Now, because of this, you prefer a slow pacing. So you would prefer the fight to drag out very long, because the longer the fight drags out, the more time you have to shoot them, and they can't shoot back at you because of your distance, right? So you can sit across the point, and the longer it takes them to get to you, right? So think, for example, right, you're thinking of Well, right, and you as Reinhardt versus them as Sigma, right? The longer it takes you as Reinhardt to reach Sigma, the more time Sigma has to shoot you, which benefits him, right? So therefore, they prefer far distance, slow pacing. Brawl is the exact opposite on both of them. They are a very close ranged comp, and therefore, because they're close range, they don't want to just let Sigma spam them out, right? So therefore, you want to go in and play fast. You want to play as fast as possible. This way, they don't have time to spam you, right? So those are two complete opposites. Now, if you were to look at the last game that we were just in, what composition would you say both of our two teams were in that last one?
Well, I would say the other team is spam.
Yep, correct.
With Kree and Sigma and
Roadhog and I think Mercy, right? And so they had a lot of spam characters. That was spam. You're correct.
Okay.
Now, what were we on in that case? We had refresh you with, we had a Reinhardt, we had a Zarya, I think we had a McCree, yeah. We had a
Zen.
We had a Zen. I think he swapped over to Baptiste at the second half. But
he did.
We had a Zen.
So
Swap to Moira, right?
Yeah. So hybrid, I guess.
What would you say hybrid for? Because
because Zarya and I would be
Brawl.
Kind of Brawl, and then with Kree and Bap or Zen, that would be spam.
All right. So let me explain one more point to you then. Characters can be more than one. They're not limited to one single composition, right? So each character is going to be differently good at each of them. So think, for example, take like Ana, right? Where Ana's a pretty good character. I guess Ana's not a great example. Let's take I don't know. Let's take Pharah, right? Pharah is going to do pretty good in a dive, pretty good in a spam, but she's not really a Brawl character, right? So you wouldn't run a Pharah in a Brawl. So she can play. She is a dive and a spam character. Probably say she's equally split between the two of them, but she doesn't do Brawl at all. She's not a Brawl character, right? So let's take Baptiste. Baptiste can do Brawl and Baptiste can do spam. Pretty much both equally good. He's evenly split between the two, but he's pretty terrible with a dive, right? You don't want to run a Baptiste with a dive, right? McCree's pretty flexible. You can run him in a lot of different comps. I'd probably say if I were to put like an order on it, I would say that he is primarily I'd probably say he is primarily a Brawl character. But it's just very slightly above it. Then next would come Spam. Then next would come Dive. So it's like Brawl mostly, a little bit less Spam, a little bit less Dive. Right? Is the order in which McCree would go. Right?
Okay.
Because McCree is a close range character in comparison to a lot of other characters. He has very close fall off damage. Right? He's going to cap out around 25 meters. He has he has extra health. He has flashbang. Right? A lot of things that mean he wants to play like a close to mid ranged and a little bit of faster pacing. Right? So in any case, right? So those are two characters. And Yada, though, definitely say is not a Brawl character. Right? Like you can't. He's decently flexible, so you can run him in a Brawl, but he's first and foremost a spam character. Can do okay in a dive, and then Brawl or sorry, more accurately, let me say that again. He's good in a spam, pretty decent in a dive, and is okay in a Brawl, right? So now that we have recharacterized some of this, right, we've gone more in depth. Now, what would you say our composition was? If we're running Reinhardt, Zarya, yeah, you're correct, right? We're running Ryan, Zarya, Brawl characters, McCree, who, if we're fitting him in to our other characters, he becomes the Brawl character in that comp, right? Because you're not just because he's both of them doesn't mean he's always playing like both of them. He changes his playstyle based off the comp. If he's playing with Brawl characters, he's playing like a Brawl character. If he's playing with spam characters, he's playing with a spam character. So if we are running a primarily Brawl comp, he's now a Brawl character. So Reinhardt, Zarya, Brawl, McCree, Brawl, Baptiste, Brawl, same concept. I think we had a Moira as well. Moira's Brawl. And then, I don't know what our other DPS was, can't remember. In any case, we're running a Brawl comp. They're running a spam comp. I'd say we played much too slow and didn't get close enough fast enough, right, in that last game, right? We weren't playing the compositions correctly. Now, how this would affect your aggression scaling, which I don't think I've ever tried kind of intertwining these before, so I'm going to do my best here to articulate this. This affects your aggression scaling. I wouldn't say that you necessarily start off at a higher neutral. Like, you're not going to start off every fight at a 70%. I guess it depends on how you're looking at it, but I would say it's more so that your neutral shifts, that your 50% is now just more aggressive, right? Like, overall, you're just going to be, I guess. Sorry, I'm trying to think of how to place this because, like I said, I haven't tried to place this into anything yet. Actually, maybe I would say that you just adjust the neutral. So maybe in it, for example, let's say you're running a Brawl versus a spam, because you know that you need to get to them fast because you two are opposites. I'd probably say your new neutral becomes something more like in the range of like 60 to 70, something like that, right? Instead of having the neutral as 50, right? Now, you definitely can play, go down the list and play passive the same way you did before, but you're now starting off at that new neutral because you want to play aggressive and play fast. Whereas if you're going up against another Brawl, well, now, if you're going up against another Brawl, you don't really necessarily get as massive of a disadvantage if you play slower or if you play further away because you're both the same comp, right? So, therefore, in that situation, your neutral can still be 50%. You're playing Brawl into Dive, neutral's 50%, right? So if you're playing into either of those comps, you're 50%, but spam now becomes you have a higher aggression because of the fact that you have a greater loss if you play far and slow, right? So all of that's not like I'd say it's a lot of information, but not really complicated, if that makes sense, right? So just think about that again when you get into the game. Is think about what is their comp, what is my comp, how am I playing the game, because team comp dictates play style. Right? So you can just go ahead and hop into another game. I think we have another hour here, so go ahead. So now, again, since we've gone over a lot of things so far, I'll be talking a bit more, giving you reminders to pay attention to different things. First thing we're looking at in this game is the moment we get in the game is we're looking at like what is my team comp on, what play style are we going to be playing in general, and then above, the next to that, right, we're going to be thinking about what is their team comp on, who. What's their play style? How are we playing up against them? And then what targets are we focusing? Who are we looking at? Who's the easiest to hardest to kill? Right?
Oh, I had another question that we might not have time before this game starts, but
Hmm?
I was watching a video. Flats was talking about pathing. He was talking about like which directions to come out of spawn, which one's the quickest, pathing in general. And it sounds like somewhat of a broad concept. I mean, typically, you can figure out the fastest way out of spawn. But besides that, pathing sounds like a very general.
So kind of like, so what is pathing and how does it apply to you? Kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah, so pathing is just where are you going? Like how are you getting from point A to point B both the fastest and the safest, right? So this is typically as the main tank, you do the pathing for your whole team. They're gonna follow you. So your objective is not just also for you. It's how am I gonna do this the fastest way and the safest way for my entire team. So if you have one route on the left, one route on the right, and one route down main, right? Main is the fastest, but it's also incredibly dangerous. Left is like medium fast, medium safe, and right is super safe and super long. Which direction do you think you should be taking?
I would guess it kind of depends on the comp, right?
Yeah,
Like if it's the fastest, I would want to do Brawl, but if it's like the slowest, safest, if it gives me a better line of sight, I would want Spam.
yeah. So, I'd say yeah, that's a good assertion. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of that when I was giving this hypothetical situation, but definitely yeah, that is true. It will depend on the comp. I'd say in a lot of situations, going for that medium would be good. So like because you want to keep fast and safe as both priorities. But like if you feel like you can make it, make it through, then go ahead and make it through, right?
Okay. So kind of like on last game on Ilios, how instead of taking this the right way, I should have gone left.
The right side would be the longer route with less safety, right? Therefore it's not good routing, right? It's not good pathing because it's longer, it's not safe. Left side is shorter and it is safe. Now, going straight, let's say you just went straight down main, like walking right next to the well, right? That would be the shortest, but it also would be the most dangerous, right? So you might go left side over the straight down main because it's just a lot safer for only slightly longer time, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's always really dangerous because everybody always plays Hog and Lucio. So
always this fucking map too, man.
Oh, this is a good map. What is that guy talking about? One of the best maps.
Oh, it's because we're down at DPS.
Oh, okay. Right now, backing up, playing on the corner. Right, this is because that's a choke point right in front of us. Right, so right now where you're at is good. What are the team comps at? Right, like what are we running?
If you need
to, wait till after the fight.
Yeah.
Should have been looking at our team comp sooner, but I was talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe playing slightly passive that fight, but look at our teams, right? So what's our team comp right now?
Hybrid?
Yeah, I would say that we're a decent mix between a Brawl and a Spam, right? So you'd be like a Brawl Spam hybrid, but I would say that you're a little bit more Brawly. So I'd say you have a pay attention to what's happening. Probably go out right side if you're about to lose point, not left side, and make sure you're sticking with your team, right? So now look at their team comp, right? Now what are they running?
There's no Reapers behind us somewhere.
With like a Brawl dive hybrid.
Yeah, I'd say again, yeah, they're on a little bit of a hybrid, right? They're not really. So both teams are going to be playing around similar pacings. We're going to be playing kind of. We're going to be kind of all over the place. It's going to be a little bit of a deathmatchy game, right?
Come on, Ron, you're playing way too far back, and this is twice in a row where DPS can't pick off for no reason. Now we're gonna lose points.
Yep, so maybe engaging slightly sooner, noting again that like our neutral is 50% right now. So we want to be going in and swinging and doing things. 50% doesn't mean you're hard engaging, you're sprinting into them. It just means that we're engaging, right? Whereas here, we're not really engaging, we're just kind of sitting, right?
Run, go up. Yo,
No.
go front, dude.
No. In that situation, you should not have gone up. Don't listen to him.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to touch, right? So there's no
No,
reason
I
why
know.
you should have tried. So if you feel like this guy is toxic, tilting, anything like that. Well, alright, so if you feel like the guy's tilting or toxic, then I'd recommend a mute. You know, you have options. Mute him, avoid him, report him, right? All that jazz.
Heals are fine. You just can't fucking get any pics of you guys. Positioning fucking sucks.
This guy too.
Yeah.
This round's a GG.
Then that situation might have been a good opportunity to shatter when like Reinhardt was just sitting there,
Yeah.
right? Even there, even there, noting that you can shatter underneath cart, right? If you can shatter underneath cart and Reinhardt's standing on top of cart, who could you have shattered there?
The Kree definitely.
More like high nooning McCree, right, which can maybe stop pressure from being on your team. So that's an option there. I wouldn't say that's like necessarily like a fantastic option. Just throwing that out there as a thing. Okay, we haven't looked at it yet. Who's the easiest to hardest on their team to kill?
Easiest would be Zen.
Yep.
It's all on point.
So again, think about that next time you get a chance if you need to. All right. Request stealing. Watch walking into mines. Turn around and break the mines. Don't let them just exist there when you're like, you had nothing else to do. So turn around and break them.
Yeah.
All right. So we, took a whole rounds to not even get through all of those 3 points. We're going to hopefully, once you work on it and practice at it, you're going to get to the point in which you are doing all of that within the first fight, right? Where you're finishing all of that within the first, couple seconds of the game, right? Is the objective. So here again, look at your team in spawn here, right? Then after you've done looking at your team in spawn, the moment you walk out of spawn, you're analyzing what is their team comp and
I'm not even trying.
who's easiest to hardest, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. A little tilted team here. All right, so as of the moment, what's it looking like our teams at? I'd say you could already identify it by now.
Yeah. It would be spam.
Yeah, exactly, right? So therefore, this would be a situation where you might want to consider swapping your character because your character just doesn't really fit well at all into the comp. You're going to be playing at opposite pacings and opposite distances, which isn't going to work too well for you if you're running in 1v6, right? Or if you're just sitting in the back doing nothing.
So like Sigma or?
Yeah, Sigma would be good here. Orisa would be good here. Roadhog would be pretty decent, right? Even if you did, I'd say like over Reinhardt, like Wrecking Ball would be okay. Winston would fit better into it than a Reinhardt would because those dive characters, right, aren't opposites. Reinhardt is an opposite, right? Those two are
Right.
So just understand that a little bit better.
Okay.
Right now we're looking at what they're running. And we see a Reinhardt. We see a Wrecking Ball. We see a Zenyatta. Now we see a McCree, we see a Mercy, right? Okay. There in that situation, we stepped back and healed like 100 HP when McCree was very out of position, right? Higher priority to get the kill when you're not in danger of dying. Okay, a couple things we'll talk about. Focus on the person on point, right? Make sure we're being aware of our surroundings, right? You see you're not capping, you hear the ball running around behind you and shooting, you saw him on your screen. Right, so look at ball.
Okay.
Alright, what is our team comp? Right? Didn't identify that yet.
It's the same as before.
Same as before, right? brawly
Yeah.
slash spammy, right? A little bit of a hybrid. So, whenever you get the chance here, easiest to hardest, just remember that next.
Okay.
Right now, we're up people, we're pushing aggressive, right? We're up 2, so aggression should be up. Right, so now that you're winning, you can maybe put some brain power into what's the easiest to hardest on their team.
Zen, and then Mercy, and then maybe Kree,
Yep.
and then Ryan, I would think.
Ryan over Reaper Ball?
Ryan over Reaper, I don't know. I guess it depends.
I would definitely say, I'd probably say Reaper's definitely a much easier character to kill. He has, like, you know, literally half the health and no shield, right? So I'd say, and no armor as well, right? So Reinhardt is much harder to kill. Besides that, yes, Ball is the hardest on their team to kill, right? So Ball would be the hardest. Press tab real quick. Take a look at the hook accuracy, 25%. Very important stat to pay attention to on Roadhog because it's just very important that we land our hooks, right? If we have a 25% hook accuracy, we're not really landing a bunch. We want to make sure we're landing more. We'll talk a little bit after this game on how we can do that a little bit more effectively, but not really doing that too effectively at the moment. So looking to land more hooks, put more effort into it. We'll have a couple little things to talk about after this game on Hog.
Yeah.
Okay. In that situation, look at Ball a little bit faster when he's coming in, because like we saw him swinging in, and then we didn't look at him until after he's already rolling away, right? So wouldn't it be much easier to land the hook if we're tracking him the whole way he's coming in, and while he's slamming, and then while he's rolling away, versus looking at him only while he's rolling away, right? No. Okay, very far out in the open. Make sure he's in cover. E, right? I mean, watch your health bar. You know, if we're dying, that's a misuse of abilities right there, right? If we're dying without using E, then we misuse our abilities, right? We just didn't use it.
Yeah.
Right, pressing tab, noting 11 deaths again in 9 minutes this time. So very high death rate, dying a ton, low survivability, looking to stay alive longer, because when we're dead, we're doing nothing, right? We're not able to do anything, and we're impacting negatively. So make sure we're looking to stay alive. Sigma's feeding at the moment, but if you see Sigma feeding, you know, maybe you can look to go and grab a hook on somebody who tries to punish him.
Okay.
Oh yeah, when last rounds when Reaper's blossoming, right, you have like 2 things that you can do against Reaper mainly, right? You can charge him, right, if you see the opportunity. Just make sure you're not booping him around, that's important. Or you can alternatively look to go and shield him. Fire Strike is maybe like a third option, right, that if you're too far away, but definitely the other 2 would come as like a first idea. Yeah, maybe a little bit early in the fight to be using your ultimate, right? Like, there's only one person you could have even gone for.
Yeah.
Look to pin him into a wall instead of having him just fly away from you. Okay, when trance is happening, probably don't need to use your E, and that means we have E for when we actually need it.
Okay.
Alright. So, let's talk about some Roadhog stuff. So I never stopped streaming there, but I think that's fine. Alright. So, on Roadhog, let's discuss some stuff. So first off, let's talk about left click versus right click usage, because I see us misusing it a lot. So let's talk about why and when do you use both of them. So your basically the hinge point of this is your right click, and that is your right click, right, has a breaking point. So you shoot it, it's a tiny little ball, and then at a certain point it's going to explode and turn into a tiny little bunch of million pieces, right, and spread out. So right here at that breaking point, which is 10 meters away, right? Or I believe it might be 9 meters away. So I think it's like right here still. Yeah. So 9 meters away, right? Up to, let's see, up to a certain point, you can one-shot people, right? So if you are within that range, you want to be right-clicking because you have the one-shot potential, right? And then anything past that, you want to be right-clicking again because this is going to be your most effective source of damage. If we were to try to left click from too far away, you have two problems. First off, you have fall off damage, which means the further away you go, the less damage you do, right? You can see that based off the fact that we get, do that much damage, and then we back up to all the way back here, and now we do this much damage, right? With big difference. Secondly is spread. Look at when I'm shooting here, just watch the bullets, how they go all around them, right? Your left click is even more than that, right? Your left click is just all over the place, right? So look at the damage I'm doing with my left click from this distance, right? This is the distance in which we were left clicking from sometimes, right? We were trying to left click from this distance, right? So anything past like I'd probably say just 10 meters is very easy to remember. So anything past 10 meters, we're right clicking. Anything in front of 10 meters, we're left clicking. Because now, once we step within that 9 meters, look what our right click does. Oh, wait a moment. Why did it? Was they already low? I think they were already low health. Wait a moment. Do that again. Right. Look at it. Right. Does half damage. It's always going to do half damage no matter what distance you are. We could be right here. Still going to do half damage to him. Right. And then body shot is going to be a quarter. Right. So, within this distance, left clicking is much preferred. Right. Because we can just do more than half. Pretty much any distance. Right. Up here we have the one shot potential again. So left click within that 10 meters, right click beyond that 10 meters. So that's just your standard what to do, right? Secondly, let's talk about when you're hooking. So first off with your hook, make sure that we're leading our hooks. A lot of times we're not really doing that too effectively. So what leading means is that your hook is a projectile, right? So the same way with your shots are projectiles. So when we are shooting at people, we have to projectiles have travel time. So when we're right next to somebody, we don't have to worry about projectiles. We can just aim straight at the person because there's very little space for the projectile to travel. But when somebody is over here, if we were to aim straight at them, notice how that shot goes straight behind them, right? Even though I'm aiming straight at the head, the shot just ends up flat on missing, right? So what we need to do is aim ahead of the person, right? So that, oh, I messed that up. But we need to aim ahead of the person so that they move, the projectile has time to travel, right? So same thing with hook, right? The further away they go, the further ahead you have to aim. And sometimes we would be hooking at somebody who is all the way at that bot over there, and we'd be aiming straight at them, right? And then it would just end up missing, right? So we need to make sure we're aiming, we're pre-aiming, we're aiming ahead of them, we're leading our shot. Secondly, with our hooks, make sure we're adding in a tracer shot in a lot of situations. So a tracer shot is essentially shooting before you hook, right? This does two different things for you. Firstly, it's going to do a ton of extra damage. So this means that you can have the potential to do one-shot combos. So let's say, for example, we have over here a Zarya, right? So on a normal character, we can just hook him and kill him normally. But on a Zarya, right, if I were to hook, shoot melee, look at the health bar now, right? I think I missed a lot of my pellets there, but we don't kill him, right? Whereas if we are to left click, hook, shoot melee, we can actually finish him. I think I'm missing a lot of my shots here for some reason. So if we are to, again, left click, hook, left click melee, right now we can kill him, right? On a character that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise, right? So it gets you a bunch of extra damage within your combo. Same thing, with the monkey or something like that. Left click, hook, left click melee. Does a lot more extra damage in your combo. Secondly, On top of that, it's going to allow you to land your hook easier because you can adjust off of your first shot. So like you see first shot misses, now you can adjust to where you missed, right? So this allows you to hit your hook better. So let's say we miss our hook or that, now we can adjust over, or if we hit it, we know that we're on target, right? So that's how you can kind of trace your shot and be ready for it. So if you have the time for it, add in a tracer shot when you're, again, distances depend on whether you left click or right click. If we're far away, we're going to right click as the tracer shot like that, right? If you have to rush the shot, like the hook, sorry, like let's say they're about to run around the corner, well now we're going to need to just normal hook because otherwise we wouldn't be able to get them before they reach around the corner, right?
Okay.
Or let's say they're already like low HP or something like that, or you don't have ammo, let's say you only have 1 bullet left, right? Then we're just going to have to go for a normal hook, right? So it's situational. Just if you can, it's going to be better for you in a lot of situations, right?
Okay.
Whole hog, right? Pin people in the walls with it, right? It's a close range ability, so if we are ulting somebody and we, let's see, can I find an example of this? Probably can find an example right here. Like if we are whole hogging and we have them go all the way over there, look how little damage we do, right? Because they're just going to get further and further away, whereas if we do this and pin them into the, oh, I didn't get my ult in time. Whereas if, you know, they're just going to go off into nothingness, which we saw with the Reinhardt, right? We just we shot at the Reinhardt, and then we never ended up getting the kill. Whereas if you were to pin him into a wall or a corner is the most effective, but a wall's okay as well. Well, now he stays close to us, which means that we end up getting a lot more value out of it. So now instead of him just going off into nothingness, right, we can keep him here, and then he's there a lot longer, right? And these guys, pin him into the corner, right? Melt him really fast. All right, so I think that's about it. Probably go ahead and queue up again if you'd like. So, oh, never mind, you got a game. But, you know, since we have the time, things all making sense so far. You got any questions?
Not really. Everything makes sense. It's just
that's good.
me trying to think about all of it while I'm playing.
Yeah. You know, if I went three years of coaching and things didn't make sense, that would be sad.
Usually I communicate a lot more with my team while I'm playing too.
Mm-hmm.
When we're on the calls, I feel like I'm definitely trying to focus on what you're talking about more so than.
Very understandable. When you communicate with people, what kind of things do you communicate, and how do you communicate it?
I mean, I could try this game. Usually I communicate positioning. So wherever somebody is, if somebody's out of, if someone on the other team isn't with the rest of the team, I'll be like, May's high ground, May's on left side. I'll communicate if I'm on offense when I'm going in. I'll count down like 3, 2, like I'm about to push 3, 2.
Some additions I might highly recommend are communicate when fights are won and lost. So tell your team, hey, no assaults, this fight is lost, right? Repeat it multiple times. This lets them know, right? And means that you're going to be able to, be on the same page with everybody, right? Communicate for regroups, and then finally communicate target priority. Like if you want everybody else to be shooting at the thing you're shooting at, not everybody on different targets, right? So if you're shooting right here, you'd be Ryan, sorry, right?
Okay.
Ryan, right? Because you're trying to get your entire team to focus the thing you're shooting at, right? Now,
Okay.
if you're off on your own, or let's say it's just right now, I wouldn't say you really shouldn't be calling anything because the fight's not really progressing at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we should be getting aggressive because our
Yeah,
team's
we have 2
forwards.
picks.
Yeah, and we got 2 picks. They were playing a little bit passive, and then I got our Diva demeched, right? So those would be 2 additions I'd recommend. But yeah, I mean besides that, sounds good to me.
70% to Nano, let's go!
I've also tried to start communicating more what you've been saying, like about how many people were up or down.
Yep. You don't necessarily have to call every single up or down, but like if you feel like the situation needs you to, like particularly like if your team is not playing the right pacing or if they're not grouping up, then you can. I'd also call when you reach the benchmarkers. So when the fight is won or lost, right? That's the super important one. But you don't necessarily like if the fight's happening, you don't necessarily be like we're up 1, you're down 1, we're up 1, we're up 2, we're down 2, right? You don't necessarily have to commentate the entire thing, but you just want to give the important benchmarkers as such as, you know, we've won the fight, we've lost the fight, we're, you know, play a little bit more aggro, play less aggro, right? That sort of idea.
Okay.
They're going top left. I want us to do a fake D. I'm gonna get up there and Nano run.
Okay, nice. Probably do the thing that we just did and like shatter off of that, right? Like because you can just see when they're coming up and they don't have shield up. Probably a good decision to not go in.
Because okay.
Yeah, because you didn't have your team with you is the big thing. Now, it's a different situation, right? We have our team. Well, a little far.
Antied over there.
Make sure you have a destination pin in mind, like where are you going with it? Or, sorry, more accurately, where am I ending with it, right? Because, you know, you're thinking, I'm hitting soldier, but where are you hitting soldier into? Where is your charge ending at?
Going back top left.
I'd probably say in a lot of situations, the ending of the charge is more, knowing where am I ending the charge is more important than knowing who am I charging. Or, you know, what is the process, right?
You're playing up with them.
If you're in comms, you can say backup, or if you're not in comms, you can press group up with me. And if you don't do that, then you would just go and group up with them, like if they don't back up, right?
Yeah. That was bad.
Diva! Come to me! Oh, never mind, I fell.
I think we just get back right now. They're all pushing it.
Hell! He soloed me.
Right, the other thing, we just kind of engaged the fight a little too late, right? Again, we just kind of sat around to start off the fight. Like, by the time we were doing anything, there were already like 6 kills in the kill feed, right? So, alternatively there, charge the Genji when he's blading. If you don't charge the Genji while he's blading, I just like drop on top of the people in the choke and charge them and get aggressive on them and do things, right? Instead of just kind of chilling, right?
Ryan sleeps over there, he's by himself. I'm gonna nade him.
Just look for fire strikes in between fights. Like even if you want to be positioning up there, you still get all fire strikes, right? at this point, what we're doing is completely fine. Even though this is like not super optimal positioning, this is kind of like a how do I say that? This is like a, I guess to use terminology, I don't believe necessarily in this actually being a thing, but like it's kind of alpha term, like a mindset of like we're basically destroying their mental by just rolling them in their spawn, right? Kind of deal, right?
Okay. Sid, why'd you let Baby Diva die? What the fuck? Blame it on Sid.
Right. If you have Sonic on them through the wall, might want to use the opportunity to like land a shatter when you know where they are and they don't know where you are, right? Sort of idea. And you can see when a Reinhardt's holding shield and whatnot. Okay, maybe shield up against Nano Diva instead of swinging at Nano Diva, right? Especially if you like if you have teammates. Like if it was like a 6v1, then of course swing. But like if it's more dangerous for you and your teammates, might want to shield. Right?
Okay.
Massive. Alright, coolio, full held. Not a ton of deaths. Decent aggression. Right, decent.
A lot of that was the team fragging, though. I feel.
No, I mean don't sell yourself too short. I don't think we played too shabby there.
Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Ooh, we got the speed. Oh, never mind. They're playing musical heroes. Pick one, bitch.
Justice will be done.
No one's beating my high scores.
They're like, who are you? Lucio? Nah, Zenyatta again.
Attack commences in 30 seconds. Order will be restored.
Do the choke and then go to the right side. Oh, are we gonna TP?
Well, I mean, if you're on a sim, I would make the assumption.
They're in chat, but the chances of them talking
Yeah.
after not talking the whole first round.
True.
I guess we just follow them.
1. Attack commences. Capture objective A.
I mean, that'd be pretty whack if like you were on sim and then she just sat there.
Yeah, she didn't tell us TP.
Sorry, Zed.
Alright, watch your health. Pay attention to who's shooting at you. Shield up. I also think we went through TP a little bit late, right? I don't think you want to go through like immediately, but like give it like a second or two. I honestly, maybe let me take that back. Typically, you probably want to go through like immediately. You want to be like the first or second person through because you're tanking for your team, right? When you TP, most of their attention, besides a few characters, are going to be focused on the second end of the TP, not the first end, right? Maybe it might be evenly split, but usually the attention goes to the second end, and you want to be leading the charge on the second end, right? Not the first end sitting there, right?
Yeah, I was originally waiting to TP because Diva and the other character hadn't gone through.
Honestly, it'd be a
I wanted to
situation
protect
where,
them.
yeah, it'd be a situation where you would just go through even if they haven't, right? Because Diva's tanky enough on her own, and you want to be in there leading the charge, especially since you're like a Reinhardt and you want to be going in and swinging. Huh? Good game. All right. Yeah, not a lot here, so you can just go ahead and queue up for another one. Then we gotta probably fit in maybe like one more, and maybe it depends on how fast this came in, but we might be able to get like maybe a quick play in after that, but we'll see how much time we have after.
Yeah, I figured at some point eventually it's just going to be me playing games and you making little commentary rather than like the grand concepts.
Yeah, so I mean, like at certain points, right? Like you go over a lot of grand concepts. Like, but let me explain it. So, as of the current moment, right? There are more grand concepts to talk about, but they're not currently applicable, or like either because you're not at the right level yet, you're not advanced enough, there's more pressing matters. Like at the moment we're going over the most pressing matters that are currently a problem. But then eventually they're like, you know, you do, like, for example, like up at probably say like Diamond to Masters Plus, you've gone over most and you understand most of the grand concepts, and at that point it's getting efficient and consistent at said grand concepts, that you are making sure that you're constantly doing them, and you're kind of getting all these tiny little tweaks to make yourself more efficient, right? So that's how it keeps on going. But we're not, because we've talked about like all these big main points, so now we focus in and make sure we're consistently applying them within our gameplay. Nice counter charge. Right. Little aggressive, right? Dropped in 1v3. Press tab real quick. Right, what's our team on?
Their team or our team?
Our team.
Spam?
Nope.
Spam Brawl?
I'd probably say mostly a Brawl, right? Because we're on Ryan's Zarya, Brawl, Junkrat, Brawl.
Oh, our team.
Yeah, our team.
Sorry.
That's what I said. Yeah. Yep, so I say mostly Brawl, a little bit of Spam. Their team, what are they on?
That's why I said Spam for their team.
I'd probably say press tab again. They're on Brawl. Because Briggs Brawl, Honest Brawl, Sims Brawl, Ryan's Brawl, Sigma's medium Brawl, right? So both teams are mainly Brawly. So, you know, that means, again, we're keeping maybe that 50% aggression. We're both kind of playing similar. All right, next time you get the chance, so like next time you die, and then we're looking at the easiest to kill. Okay, getting really aggro right now. They're all 1 HP. No, really, really aggro, right? Oh, just watch the situation, because we were already up like 3 people, right? Because in that situation, you want to play really aggro. Like our aggression was like 90% because of the fact that 2 people were 1 HP and they were down 3 people, right?
Okay.
So that's the situation where our aggression goes way up. Maybe charge into that. Might have a chance to get the Sigma, and then that cancels his ult.
Okay.
Okay. So right now, whenever we get the chance, we're backing up to the far end of choke, right? Not holding up at the front. So what are easiest to hardest? Real quick, fire through.
On their team?
Yep.
Ana, Sim, maybe Widow if I can hit her.
Yeah, if you can get her.
Mercy before Widow, and then I would say Sig before Reinhardt.
Yep. You're pretty accurate. Widowmaker up for other characters becomes the easiest, but because you can't really get to her as Reinhardt, then it's hard for you, right? Okay. If Reinhardt's trapped and he has nano, might want to just let him stay trapped, or at least pin him at the very end of the trap, because that extends the duration where he can't do anything. And then besides that, watch your health bar, because we were like pinning him when we were like 100.
Yeah, that was
50 HP.
Yeah, that was a long pin.
Right.
Yeah. My goal was somewhat to keep him away from the rest of the team.
Which is already accomplished by the trap, right? So pay attention to the trap. Okay, we're up 1. Oh, he's 1 HP. Massive. Might have wanted to push forwards an extra like 3 meters to get the Ana and the Mercy. Alright. So yeah, might have wanted to push forward slightly closer so we could have gotten an extra 2 people in it. Besides that, when you were trying to walk left side, who was it that was lagging behind?
The Ana.
The Ana and the Mercy, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I tried. That might have been my bad. I think I missed there's the Ana. I thought it was the Hanzo, but I think you're right then. All right. Good round. Right. So with Widowmaker, right? Like we discussed, like in general, because you can't reach her as Reinhardt, she is a technically harder character to kill than the other characters, right? But then if we ever had the opportunity, Widowmaker becomes the easiest because she just has such, she has much less HP than the others, right? And we can melt her pretty fast. So she becomes easy if we can reach her, and then on most other characters in the game, she is one of the easiest targets to kill, right? Like most mobility characters, most long range characters, just not like the super slow and chunky Reinhardt.
Yeah.
50% aggression at the moment. Watching our health bar. Nice, still like 50% at the moment. Reiner doesn't have shield, so maybe we can... but we're low. Right? And that aggression can change in half seconds, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're up 2. Now we're getting really aggressive. So like what I was saying, like we saw that Reinhardt's shield broke, so that might up our aggression from like 50 to 60, but then immediately we got low HP, so then that now drops our aggression down, right? And those changes will be happening super fast, so you just have to be on your toes, be ready to be changing your aggression suddenly. Like your aggression could, in situations, have to go from 100 to 0 within a second. Fire Strike. If you have Fire Strike as an option, that's always the first thing you do in a Shatter, because it does the most damage, it reaches the furthest, it hits the most people. So as you're approaching there, Fire Strike, and then that kills Leona in that situation.
Yeah, then it wouldn't have been anti.
Okay, Zarya's a little push forward, so... Alright, so now we're playing passive.
Should I even try and help that Zarya?
Do you have your whole team with you?
No, she just ulted.
Okay. Right now, I'm watching health bar. being careful because we did blow up
Yeah.
really fast when people are looking at us. In that situation where we down people, when Zarya's pushed forwards, were we like, did somebody die?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? So why didn't we have our team with us?
I don't know.
Because I thought I saw like 3 or 4 people. So in that situation, you know, what is pushing forwards to help Zarya, you know, do? I wouldn't say that's like that puts you in bad positioning. I wouldn't say that, you know, you had your team with you. So I wouldn't say there's any reason why you shouldn't push forwards to help Zarya in that situation. Now, if you had like 2, 3 people who were dead, then let her die, right? That's where you're resetting. But like if the fight's happening, then, you know, why not save her?
Okay.
Okay, come in, looking for Shatter. Sigma's trapped, a possibility to like look to charge that if you had the option. Uh-oh, looking the touch point.
Yeah.
Score 1-1.
Why did you abandon the assassin's path?
I never was an assassin. I killed only because it was necessary.
Five, four, three, two, one. Round 3. Capture the objective.
Keep your eye on watching for the charge. Counter charge is an option there. Look to dodge it. Don't stand right in front of Reinhardt in a lot of situations, because that's just going to get you charged more than if you're just standing to the left or the right of him, right? And just be ready for it, right? Be prepared. Watching the health, watching the res, right? Watch for the Mercy. Team composition dictates play style. When they're on a Mercy, we watch dead bodies, right? That way we don't let them get away with a free res. So in that situation, honestly, the Mercy getting away with a free res probably was the fight swinger, right? Like like in that situation, had we just gone over and killed her when she tried to res, then we would have secured 2 kills versus having 0 kills, right?
Yeah.
Can probably just charge if you're like that far away. And then I probably also would have charged like to the people on the right side instead of Sigma. Sigma's a little... Watching where our team's at, right? You know, even if we have nano boost, if we're like putting ourselves out of line of sight and away from our entire team, we're just gonna die, right? So making sure we're not there, we're like at 100% and putting ourselves in bad positioning. Very nice. Maybe a wasted fire strike.
Yeah.
Request healing. Possibly could even pin Sigma since he's not paying attention to you and nobody else is looking at you. Yeah, if you're down support, you know, we're down a couple people right now. Probably just want to hold like a little bit further back. Okay, right now we're at like 50. Mine still around 50. Watching res. Right now we're up to probably like 70. Right, we're getting really aggro. Now we're like 80, maybe 90. Yeah, now we're 100. Right, just going, going, going. All right, resetting up for next fight. Honestly, you could probably just leave Lucio to your team. You want to be repositioning for the next fight so they don't just take high ground from you. Like here, watch, you know, like Sigma taking high ground. Watch that you don't get yeah, we didn't have our team with us there, so we just want to be careful.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely massive. We just absolutely rolled people that round. Jesus, man. I think you like team wiped every fight.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have 17 minutes left. Why don't we start going over the main points and stuff like that and see how much time we have left after that and decide from there. So I'm gonna stream again. And we'll just do, you know, our review, wrap up, or review, main points, wrap up, and questions, and then after that, we will see if we have any time left over. So, let's get started. Ability usage. Fire Strike, not a ton. Fire Strike in the Shatter. Make sure Fire Striking as often as possible. Charge short distances, and when you're not really going to get contested. Don't charge when you're low. Don't charge when it's dangerous, right? You're essentially going for charges when you know that you can get the value without dying. Essentially, is what a charge is. It's like, can I get kill and not die, right? Is essentially when you go for a charge. Shield management. Shield hopping, just make sure shield hopping. Besides that, maybe there was a bunch of, like, there were situations where, like, we shielded when maybe we shouldn't have been, but I think we talked about that last time, and I don't think it was, like, super terrible. Overall, ability usage, I don't think was super bad on Ryan. I think ability usage is maybe around, like, a low to medium priority for you to work on. Then besides that, we were on Hog. Hog, definitely landing more hooks is the big thing, right? And making sure that we are using tracer shots. And then besides that, E, make sure we're actually using it in, you know, good situations. There were times where we used it when we didn't need it, and times where we ended up using it or not using it when we did need it, right? So overall, Hog is more like a medium priority for you to work on. Those were the two characters, I think. That was it, right?
Yeah, that's all I played.
Yeah. All right. So back to Ryan. Right. Ultimate usage. You know, a couple times where we messed up with it. I don't think it was too frequent that we did. Maybe. So one thing I'd say maybe like get familiar with is like the. How do I even say that? Like this shape and distance of your shatter. So like, just one time we were like too close, noting that it's a cone. So like, you know, when we're right here on somebody, we only end up hitting this one bot, right? But if we back up, well, now we hit both bots because it spreads out the further away it is, right? So understanding the cone of it, backing up when we're too close, and then when we're too far, getting closer because it does have a max distance. So like, you know, if we're too far away from people, might need to get a little bit closer. Right? Will that even reach? That will. All right, so that's like the very max range, right? So making sure we're getting a little bit closer if it's too far away, right? Besides that, not ulting it when I lost fights, and then I think that's about it. Overall, probably like a low to medium, again, priority. Hog. I only saw like one of these or something like that. Whole hogs, but make sure you're pinning in people in the walls. You know, low to medium priority. Moving on. Mechanics, right? Mechanics on Reinhardt would entail target priority. Make sure you're shooting at the right things to shoot at, right? Shoot at people who are the highest value and are the easiest to kill. Usually that means not tanks and not hard things to kill. Make sure that you are going for them when you have the opportunity. You can go for for the hard things to kill if you can't get to the, you know, the easy things to kill. If they're, or if you have an opportunity to kill the hard thing to kill, right? They're low or out of position. Right? And then Hog, right? Besides on Hog, making sure we're understanding left click versus right click usage, right? Left clicking when we're within 10 meters, right clicking from beyond 10 meters. And then overall, probably goes to like a medium priority for you to work on. Maybe like because of the thing on Hog, slightly higher on the medium end, slightly lower on the medium end for Ryan, but still around medium for both. Okay.
Yeah.
Positioning, making sure that we are using cover. Good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Making sure that we are not just like sitting up on high ground when there's nothing to do as Reinhardt, right? Go and meet them on low ground. No man's land and choke point usage, right? Hold at the end of it, not at the middle or the front of it. Besides that, was there anything else? I think that was about. What was it called? Pathing. Pathing, that's what it was called. Pathing through the, it depends upon the situation, but pathing through the safest and fastest route, right? So if we're coming in, right, and we're trying to go to point, right, going left side probably be the worst option because it's long and it's also wide out in the open. Coming right side would be the shortest, but also we'd have to walk through a little bit of out in the open. Going top would be the medium distance, but it also give us a high ground and allow us to allow our team to keep high ground as well as letting us drop directly on top of them, right?
Yeah.
So high ground, I probably say in a lot of situations would be the most superior unless you need to rush it and you need to get there fast, right? So situational, but choose usually fastest and safest. So that one, positioning in general probably goes to like a medium priority for you to work on. Awareness / aggression, right? Paying attention to how aggressive should I be playing and when, right? Paying attention to your health bar. Watch when you're low, watch when you're taking damage, watch your shield health, right? Pay attention to those things. Make sure you're listening and paying attention to with your audio awareness. Make sure you're watching left, right. Where's my team at? Where's the enemy team at? Make sure before we're pushing in and getting aggressive, we're looking behind us, right? Like before we're turning the corner, we're going, is my team here? Yes, they are. Let's go. Is my team here? No, they're not. Let's wait. Look behind you using your shield, right? Besides that, let's see what else is there. Making sure that you're paying attention to how team composition dictates your play style, right? Look at the chart if you need to, right? Different team comps are playing differently. You preferably want to be thinking about that like first fight of the game, right? Same with the easy to hard kills, right? Besides that, pay attention to like the other things that affects, right? Like mercy resing, right? Watch for the mercy res. And there's lots of odds and ends things. The aggression part of it, watch the aggression scaling, right? Go up with advantages and opportunities and whatnot. Go down with disadvantages and lack of resources. And remember, there's a bunch of other things that go into advantages and the disadvantages besides just kills, right? More ults, which team has more ults, which team has more abilities, which team has better positioning, which team has closer spawns, right? Yada yada. So forth, right? Pay attention to all those things. Overall, that probably goes to like a medium-high priority for you to work on, right? Survivability, make sure you're staying alive. This is a problem in like half of our games, right? Not all of them, but like half of them. So we're like inconsistent on it, right? Make sure we're looking to stay alive because when you're dead, you can't really do very much, right? Pay attention to the 4 reasons why you do die, right? Poor positioning, lack of awareness, over-aggression, and a misuse of abilities. I'd probably say we died the most from... Let me see. Probably say we died the most from over-aggression and misuse of abilities, and then secondly would be the positioning and awareness, which is usually the opposite, but for you it was the inverse of what most people are, right? So let's put that all in order real quick. So number 1 comes in as the awareness / aggression. Number 2 comes in as your probably positioning. Then next would be your mechanics. Then after that, let's see what will come next after that. Probably your ability usage, and then your ultimate usage would come in as last. Any questions on anything we've gone over? Just anything else in general?
I feel would survivability be a little higher than some of those?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to add that in there. So my bad. Survivability, right? I never actually gave it thing as well. So survivability, because it was inconsistent, wasn't in every game, probably like a medium priority. And then where I would put it in, I'd probably say it goes in below your positioning, above your mechanics. So it would go in, I think, so again, to refresh the list, it is awareness/aggression, positioning, survivability, mechanics, ability usage, ultimate usage. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So any other questions?
Not really. No.
Not really. All right. So last time we talked about application. Yeah. That's something we discussed.
Oh yeah. Think about the most important things during the game. Play the game thinking awareness. So that it becomes a habit.
Yeah, exactly, right? So let's maybe like go slightly more in depth. This is like sort of theory that like, because, I've been coaching for 3 years, but like there's some time, like I always am getting better at it, right? Like there's always new things I'm adding in. So this is some stuff that like I'm starting to add in as I'm thinking through it more. But the theory of you can go over multiple things if it's in broadly different categories. So like for example, right, one thing I mentioned with other people is like ultimate usage. Ultimate usage a lot of the times, because you're only getting your ultimate like every 2 minutes, and when you use your ultimate, the process of you using your ultimate only lasts probably like from the time you think about it to the time you use it, typically is only going to last like under 10 seconds. Sometimes it could be longer. Usually it's going to be like 10 seconds, right, where you're thinking about ultimate to using ultimate. So therefore, if you're only thinking about it for 10 seconds every 2 minutes, then realistically, does that interfere with you thinking about your awareness/aggression very much?
No, not really.
Not really. But now let's think, for example, awareness/aggression versus your ability usage, right? Now, awareness/aggression, you're thinking about pretty much throughout your entire gameplay, right? And your ability usage, you're thinking about pretty much your entire gameplay. So those two might overlap a lot more, and they cover, they're both happening at a very similar time frame, and they're both happening at the same time. So therefore, you can't really put in thought into both of them at the same time. So for those two, right, then I would probably recommend you're putting in attention into one of them, not the other. Whereas between your ultimate usage and something else, you might put in the attention to the one thing and then swap over to ultimate usage and then swap back, right?
Okay.
Again, emphasizing or adding in the idea that you don't put literally 100% into the thing you're focusing on, right? Because if you put literally 100%, then you don't have any brain power for anything else, right? So it's kind of more so it's the focus of your attention, not purely your attention, right? So what that might look like is you might put like maybe 50% attention to it. So like let's say we put the thing we're focusing on is awareness/aggression. We put 50% into that, right? Then all of the other categories, so we have, how many other categories we have, like we have 6 in total, we have 5 other categories, right? Now the other 5 categories get 10% each, right? Or maybe depending on the importance, so like if, we said ultimate usage was the bottom one, well maybe because ultimate usage is the least important, we can put like 3% into that one, 3% mental capacity, right? So we kind of divvy up our brain power based off of the things we're trying to focus on and the things that are we're best at versus worst at. So if we put 50% into awareness/aggression for most of the game, then for that time frame, that 10 seconds we're using our ultimate, now we're putting 50% into our ultimate usage, right? And then we swap the 50% back to our awareness/aggression once we're done that, right? So this is my new theorizing. I started thinking about that like a little bit more when I started. I'm not sure if you're familiar at all, but with this, but I am on a volleyball team, and that's kind of more recent. And when I'm thinking through this, right, like again, not familiar how familiar you are with volleyball, but like you have serving the ball, so you have like hitting the ball over, and then after that you have the rest of the game, and they're very different like times. Like I'm doing very separate actions, and while I'm, why should I be thinking about what I'm going to be doing in the future while I'm serving the ball, right? Which is the same, it's kind of the concept. So like, why should I put 100% while I'm serving into something else while I'm serving, right? So if it's happening at completely separate times, I should put 100% into the serving and then 100% into second thing, right? That's more theory on how to apply and the process of focusing on things and applying things. So just for the help.
Yeah.
Besides that, we have 4 minutes left, so I don't think we're gonna have time to hop into a
Yeah.
game. So I'm going to,
Yeah.
again, so no other questions yet. Nothing you thought of?
No, not really.
All right, so I'm gonna